Adam Gase has to go, end quote. Finally, Boomer is on board with the rest of the folks that have been watching this Jets team, saying that he is not the right guy to coach this team. Now, the question that I have for you now is, does he finish the year, or is there some sort of benefit for him being let go in the middle of the season like Bill O'Brien and Dan Quinn were?
I think the only benefit that you get out of that is, number one, you relieve the pressure and tension inside the building. That's a big benefit. Number two, you also get to start working on who you'd like to think could be your next coach, and you could start doing the background checks and looking into all the different candidates that will be available, you know, from Josh McDaniels to Eric Bieniemy and everybody in between. Joe Brady may be the offense coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, who seems to be a rising star, but he may be too young. But his offense, if you talk about a surprising team in the NFL, I would say Teddy Bridgewater and the Carolina Panthers and what they're doing offensively without Christian McCaffrey the last 3 weeks has been pretty damn near impressive. And he was the offense coordinator for Joe Burrow at LSU, and he was on the Saints staff. So he does come from a good background. And the question is he old enough? Does he have the presence? All I do know is that he definitely has an offense that is going to get the most out of whatever quarterback that he has. But I also think that if you end up with the number one pick, it's most likely going to be Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if people watched him on Saturday night. I thought he looked fine. I don't necessarily know that he's Joe Burrow, but a couple of the people that work at CBS feel that he's a more refined kind of Josh Allen coming out of college. Josh Allen has refined himself into being a really, really top-end quarterback in the NFL. It's taken him 3 years. He's had the steadiness and the consistency of having the coaching staff stay in place and the offense stay in place. So now he's very verbose in that offense. And he also doesn't get hurt. He doesn't miss games like Sam Darnold does. So I just kind of feel like watching the Jets, this whole disjointed hiring, the way that it all went down with Mike McCagnon then finally getting fired and Joe Douglas coming in here, and Adam Gase inheriting, the Le'Veon Bells of the world and some of the bad decisions and some of the bad draft choices, makes you really wonder, where this team is headed. I don't see the light going on anytime soon for this group of guys who are obviously beaten down as well.
Yeah, I guess the question is for Christopher Johnson is it the roster and the insufficiencies with the roster and all of those things that are holding back Adam Gase, or is it the fact that you look at this team and even though there are so many holes and there's injuries and everything else, you basically have no wide receivers, that Adam Gase should still be getting more out of this particular group. He can't get blown out almost every week and then lose to a third-string undrafted quarterback of the Broncos at home on a short week. Like, those are the things that cannot happen. I don't care who you are, what your roster is.
Yeah, I always try to think, like, what would be the argument to the other side of, saying that get him out of here and all this other stuff. And like I said, these guys understand that this is a business and that they are going to be looked at in terms of win-loss records, how the team looks on the field. And even if Adam Gase were sitting in my seat and somebody asked him a question about how do you think the Jets look right now, even he would have to say pathetic. He would have to say we look like we're a lost leader, like the players have stopped listening to the coach. No matter what the coach says about practice, no matter about changing up practice and what the players said about practice 4 weeks ago to where they are today, it's the product on the field that speaks for itself. And like I said, I've been through years like this where you're trying to do everything you possibly can to keep the players motivated. And, the players, are not stupid. They realize that they are on a very bad team that is getting driven into the ground each and every week. And all it takes is one or two bad plays early on in a game, and it's the here we go again syndrome that's happening to them. And there's only one place that you can start that can make a difference, and that is at the head coaching spot.
Right. Now, I know that you'd probably be elevating Greg Williams. I've said before that, yes, I recognize that the man is a maniac, but the last time he was elevated to head coach, he did a really good job with the Cleveland Browns the last few games of the season.
I don't think you really want that if you're the Jets. I think
right
now, if you're the Jets, you want to continue to lose, and you want the first overall pick in the draft.
That is true, but I also think that it is tough to have a franchise be this bad and this embarrassed every single week. Where, from our perspective, from every Jet fan perspective, go 0-16. Awesome. That's what you need to do. And I think that's what you need to root for at this point. The Giants will win a game along the way or two. The Jets, I don't believe that they can. And I don't know if they will if Greg Williams or Adam Gase is the coach because they're just that bad. I mean, you bring in Joe Flacco because they can't win a game when Sam Darnold's hurt, and then Joe Flacco is just as bad, if not worse, yesterday.
So in all fairness to him, he hasn't played, and he's coming off of a neck injury, for God's sake. So I'm sure there's some trepidation there and some nervousness there when he's playing. But I don't think it really matters. It doesn't matter because the right now the team is in a state of flux. It doesn't look good. It is to the point where, like, if they got to, like, I don't know, let's say 1-12, okay, and they had what, 3 games left, and they were in the running for that first overall pick, and that first overall pick's going to be Trevor Lawrence. I would do everything in my power to make sure that the players I put out on that field were not good enough to win those last 3 games. Yeah,
was it David Fales? He's still on the roster,
yeah, but
third-string quarterback?
I mean, the reality of this business is, you can't sell this to your season ticket holders if they're coming back next year, and we all hope that that's going to be the case. You can't sell what you're watching right now to sponsors. You can't sell it to season ticket holders. The one thing owners can do is they can count the money. And when the money ain't there and the season ticket holders are dropping and people are not, buying sponsorships to the stadium and to the games and all that other stuff, you have a huge business problem on your hands. So you need something else to sell to your fans. And the only thing that you can sell to your fans is that number 1 pick, who is going to be Trevor Lawrence, and a new coach. And that's the reality of this business. And every coach that gets into this business knows that is a potential to have happen to them. And right now the Jets are in the middle of that mess.
So you said something about Sam Darnold getting traded. Do you think that is something that happens in the offseason? Is that something that happens during the season? Because I saw rumors already about how Dwayne Haskins is a guy that could be traded at the deadline this year, which is just insane to think that they're going to be moving on from him that quickly to trade him in year, but it seems like it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's going to want him. That's the problem, and what do you get for him? And again, this goes back to the point where you have a group of people that were hired that inherited Dwayne Haskins and are not at all impressed by his work ethic, by his understanding of the offense. But again, in Dwayne Haskins' defense, this is another new coaching staff, another new offense that he's got to learn. I mean, like, again, I cannot say it enough how hard it is to learn an NFL playbook, especially after you're coming off of one and going into another, and you're trying to do things a different way, and you have a coach down there that's battling cancer, you have a team that wants to win, and, he's got to make tough decisions for the team because I'm sure that his leadership council came to him and said, look, Dwayne is not ready to play yet. He's too immature. He's making too many mistakes. So that's why Ron Rivera went, basically did what he did with Kyle Allen and of course, with Alex Smith. So
yeah,
I just think after the season's over and we all assess what has happened to the New York Jets, and if they end up with the number 1 pick, man, I would love to see a guy like Sam Darnold end up with Kyle Shanahan out in San Francisco.
We'll have to see the rest of the way the season goes. But, I mean, they signed him to a very big contract.
Jimmy Garoppolo. They can get out of it this year.
Yeah. So, all right. So, there is an opt-out clause. I think if I'm Sam, I want to go to a place like the Pittsburgh Steelers, where I'm there under Ben Roethlisberger for another year, and then I'm the assumed starter after he decides to retire, and I get in an organization that sort of knows what the hell's going on. That would be the place that I want to go, as opposed to being thrust into a different situation. It was almost like, give me a year off in an organization to sort of get my legs underneath me and then be the starter in a place that I can actually go and win. But, yeah, that'll be fascinating. I mean, it's incredible how you go into a year, you have the last year, the end of the year, where they had won some games, and then you come back, and now it's like a foregone conclusion that both the coach and the quarterback probably aren't going to be around to start next year.
I don't necessarily know that you could sell this. Again, it's a business decision on the other side of the building that will determine who is going to be here and who's not going to be here for the people that are the public faces of the franchise. And I don't know if they can sell this from that standpoint again. And from what I hear at this station and what I hear in the streets and what I hear from Jet fans all around, I feel like it's like 1995 and 96 all over again. That's what I feel like. I feel like there's not even a harbinger of any sort of excitement about the team, which is dangerous from the owner's standpoint because they make a lot of money on sponsorships and season tickets and parking and all that other stuff. And if you're going to sell this product to them next year, it's not going to go over well.
All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.